my name is John L. White. I am the CEO of WOTC Solutions and the Next Step, and we're going to, I have with me Kelly Peterson, and we're going to kind of walk you through the process. I recognize that it is after lunch, and it's kind of the worst time in the world to be trying to pay attention to things. So we will keep this brief and succinct to not waste your time. In the earlier session, I told some funny jokes, so you can just imagine that you are laughing now, and that will help keep you awake. I do want to thank Mike Anderson, Dr. Ryan, Brian Dior, Ollie Chandler, as well as Katrina from Columbus and Terry from Cincinnati for helping set this up, and hopefully we will hold your interest and let you know how this works. This slide identifies the benefits of this program as we've identified them, and I thought I would take a little more time with emphasizing the benefits to you, the PO cadre, so that you don't view this as additional obligations, but as an opportunity to make your job a little easier, and that's part of why this is designed this way. We deal with supervisory personnel, whether they're called probation officers, parole officers, reentry specialists, educational specialists across the country. And if you poll them, and frequently we do this face-to-face so you can see a show of hands, but if you say to them, how many of you have had one of your supervisees whine about not being able to find a job, everybody in the room would raise their hand, or almost everybody. On surveys of supervisory personnel, frequently trying to find work in a tough economy for felons is listed as their hardest challenge. And this program is designed not to cause you additional work obligations, but to, in fact, lessen that for you. The other benefit is an innovative solution, and it is, we're quite proud of it. It's the product of a long series of efforts at helping ex-offenders find work. The last two bullet points, I think, are easy to sort of ignore, but they're very important. In Ohio, very few of your employers who do hire felons obtain the work opportunity tax credit. We'll tell you a little bit more about that, but we help them do that. And that makes them happy, saves them money. It keeps money in Ohio, a lot of money in Ohio, and it makes them friendlier towards hiring felons from your pool. The other thing that we can do for your agency, and will do and are committed to do, is provide employment research, development, statistics, and results in whatever format they ask for it in, and whatever they need, we will provide back to them. So the benefits of this are fairly broad, but one of the groups most benefited by this is the parole officer cadre.
On today's agenda, we're going to basically discuss our background, where we came from, how we were developed. We'll also discuss a little bit about the work opportunity tax credit and what it means for a parolee to be WOTC eligible. We'll show you a live enrollment and matching demo. We'll also explain and tell you about our tools that we use to do employer development, employment data, and also what it is to keep this coffee database current and growing, and to let you know of some of the goals that we have for the ODRC APA.
This slide can be the real boring slide, particularly after lunch, so I'm going to kind of fly through it. We probably know more about helping ex-felons or releasing felons find work than any other group in the country, including the NIC. And we've done it for a long time. We've done it in many, many different ways, and we understand the difficulties that you face, that your population faces in these regards. And as I said, this is the outgrowth of all of that experience. We've worked under grants that run out regardless of how successful the program is. You've all seen that. And so we wanted to develop a self-sustaining model. The didn't rely on grants that may or may not be there the next day. And what we have developed is using this tax credit to which your employers are entitled, as you probably know, for having hired a qualified felon. And that's the thing that we've learned. We have great experience. It's almost more than I can tell you about. We deal nationally with this issue. We also are a national leader in making sure that the Work Opportunity Tax Credit remains the law. With this crazy Congress, as you know, everything is on the table, and so we make sure that they see the benefits of the Work Opportunity Tax Credit as opposed to it just being some other giveaway. I saw or heard on NPR, and they were picked up something on Fox News, some surfer dude, some of you probably saw it because they ran it, was getting food stamps. Obviously not much of a worker. He was a surfer dude out of your nightmare, and he was using it in this little piece to buy lobster. And so Congress sees that kind of thing, and they don't like that kind of program, as we all know. We emphasize that WOTC is not like that. For one thing, the benefit goes to the employers, which the Republicans like. That's their constituency. But the workers, the disadvantaged workers, are benefited by it as well, so the Democrats see it that way. One of the other things that we really emphasize in our lobbying efforts, and which you can rest kind of assured of, is that this program is virtually fraud-free. We don't have surfer dudes using this benefit to get lobster. This is an employment benefit directly applicable to your profession and to your population, and that's how we use it. What we've done is made this law effective in doing what it's designed to do. Our values, that's a sort of a vague phrase, and what I interpret it, thinking of it as I would think of it if I were you, is how responsive are we going to be to your questions, comments, suggestions, and I can tell you that it is our value to be very responsive. We basically see ourselves as having two constituencies to whom we must serve. One is you, the correction side of this. We want to be a tool for you, not an additional burden for you, and be armed, as you'll see as this develops. To be something to help you meet your mission. We know they at least try to keep track of how your caseload population is doing on the employment front, and it's some kind of grade card that your case has to put up with. Well, we help with that. We do it just by the efficiencies of scale, which you'll hear a little bit about, and using technology and some other things to basically match employers who might be willing to hire a felon, as opposed to most employers, with felons who need work, and we do it by matching their particular attributes and needs up with each other, as you'll see when Kelly walks you through that part of the program. In terms of numbers, we have in certain areas some pretty astounding numbers. We've worked with the Federal Bureau of Prisons since 2010. We learned from, they've got 52, depends on when you ask them, 52 or 54 prisons nationwide, and we enroll releasing felons behind the walls so that the POs don't have to deal with that. We're going to be working on that in Ohio. They've already heard about that. What we would like to do is have these guys and gals enroll while, as we put it, behind the walls, and then you don't have that hassle at all. They haven't said they would do it, but we're going to keep nagging them to get them to do it. There's no reason not to. They do that in the BOP. The difference is they release guys and gals everywhere. They're everywhere. What we learn from that experience is it's better on the employment side to work in a concentrated market like Ohio. You've got a great market in Ohio for employers. Regardless of how difficult your people are finding to find jobs, we will find employers and serve them back to you in the form of leads. Those numbers, such as they are, will be produced to your management team or to you however you want them. We're a small, aggressive company, and whatever data that we can reasonably extract from our processes will be provided in report form so that they can measure the success of it. The one thing I'll say on that point is really the most important statistic by us receiving job reports, by our employer development, which we spend a lot of time, effort, and money on. In Ohio, we joined the employer associations that tend toward hiring felons. We know who they are. We maintain, as Kelly will show you, what we call a top 40 list, and we do it because some people may be old enough to remember what a top 40 is. I am. Kelly isn't. But a top 40 list, and it grows and changes all the time, of employers willing to hire felons from the field. We know who they are because we're tracking it. And we use those categories to match with your guys and gals' credentials, their history, their interests, any special training they get, as you'll see, and we match those up. And so it's a very effective process using 2013 technology.
To give you all a little bit better understanding as to who we are a two-pronged company. On the one side, we have WOTC Solutions. This is the portion of our business that actively works with employers. We help assist the employers on obtaining the work opportunity tax credit for hiring APA candidates. We also work to market APA job candidates to Ohio-specific employers. We do employer development in that area through WOTC Solutions. We work directly with the WOTC coordinator's office in Ohio to obtain those WOTC certifications for employers. And we also lobby on behalf of the Work Opportunity Tax Credit and make sure that this law stays in place through the House and Senate. Our second prong of our company is the next step. This is the company that's going to work directly with APA parole officers and the constituents in Ohio. The next step currently updates the COFFEE database, making sure that the employer data is up to date, current, and most effective for your use. We make sure that the next step dispenses leads to you on a timely manner, and we maintain the relationships with you and APA staff. We also verify candidates' employment and make sure that the enrollment process runs smoothly.
If I can stick my nose into this slide, which is not one of my slides, the way that this thing has to work is we need to learn when a guy or gal gets a job. And you'll see that the WOTC has a lot of things wrong with it, and one of the things is there's a very quick time limit on when the employer can apply to receive that credit. It has to be, there's some fairly complicated forms that have to be filed within 28 days, so we have to be moving quickly. And under the way that your management has worked out this agreement, we are to elicit that information from the offenders, but we've been there and done that, and it doesn't work very well as we told them. So we are soliciting under the enrollment form that they have in Ohio, they are committed to reporting to you within 48 hours employment for you to enter into their software system. We need to know about that. And so you can tell us, but if that becomes a burden or is a burden, make sure they tell us, because we need to know that in order to make this program work.
The Work Opportunity Tax Credit is a federal tax credit that employers can earn for hiring individual ex-offenders. The Work Opportunity Tax Credit also involves a multitude of other target categories. It is a tax credit of up to $2,400, a federal tax credit, per qualified employee. And based upon our experience, the employer that hires the individual candidate, they see that their employee that they hire, who is WOTC eligible, tends to stay on the job longer and stays there to actively obtain that tax credit.
Let me make a lobbying point here. The categories of people that are entitled to this credit are people that have received food stamps, disabled veterans. One of the things that we do in marketing is we always try to lump our guys and gals that are felons next to the heroes that are veterans in all of our promotional material. But it used to be that in the lobbying effort to keep the law, that the felon group was sort of and the people that are paying attention to that now are realizing that. In Ohio, for example, you have a very powerful congressional delegation, as you probably know. And now that we have accomplished this in Ohio, they will be reminded of the fact that this law benefits you as reentry professionals, clearly. It benefits the releasees by making them more likely to get hired. And it benefits Ohio employers who actually hire felons. And that money, and it can be a lot of money, stays in the Ohio economy. You're all presumably tax-paying citizens of Ohio, and that's another benefit that shouldn't be overlooked, especially when you see the small percentage of Ohio employers who currently receive that credit. There's a whole lot of money that will stay in Ohio through the effective use of that tax credit versus what's been previously the case. And the delegation, when they see the benefits at all levels in Ohio, of course, it's difficult to turn their back on something that's proven to be effective. And once again, I will remind you that it is a fraud-free program.
Some of the requirements for WOTC eligibility include that the candidate must have a felony conviction. This candidate must be within 12 months of their felony conviction or release date. The release date includes custody in prison and/or parole or probation. We recommend that you provide all candidates with the WOTC eligible candidate card. This is a tool that we sent out to you. We sent out about 5,000 to each region. And on this handy card, it emphasizes the candidate's WOTC eligibility. It enables the potential employee to tell the employer before a hiring decision is made of all the benefits for hiring this candidate. It lets the employer know that this particular candidate is eligible for a tax credit of up to $2,400 for hiring this certain employee. It lets the employer know that there is a 28-day time limit to properly file paperwork for WOTC. And the best part about this quaint little card is that it highlights the positive aspects of hiring an individual offender and someone with a felony conviction by categorizing this individual with other WOTC eligible groups, such as John mentioned, TANF recipients, youth and veterans, and other qualified WOTC eligible groups.
Before you go into the enrollment slides, on the enrollment, you simply put, we want as many of your guys and gals as possible to enroll. There's a lot of reasons for this, not the least of which is the growth of the database. This is a database. If Match.com had Meryl Streep and Pee Wee Herman as their only two members, it's not going to be a very successful database. And so we need, and we've set it up so that they can enroll themselves. I think there's a couple of things that need to be done to really effectively make that happen that Kelly will mention. Or you can enroll them if it's easier and faster, so you don't have to listen to their questions. And as I said earlier, we're going to be working with Dr. Ryan's office to encourage those enrollments to be accomplished in the reentry blocks prior to release, and then you won't have to listen to anything about that. We'll know what we need to know before that happens. But basically, we really don't care how you do it, but get as many to enroll as you
can. Enrollment can take place through the nextstep99.com. On the screen right now, you'll see our home page. You're going to direct the candidate to enroll by clicking on the button that says, I am a job candidate ready to enroll with the next step. As you scroll down, we're just going to briefly go over some of the information that's required for an active enrollment. We have an ODRC APA specific online enrollment form to utilize. The information that's requested from the parolee includes their first name, last name, and date of birth. The date of birth must be in a specific format, a 2-digit day followed by a dash, not a slash, a 2-digit month, and a 4-digit year. We also require the parolee to regarding how to contact that parolee. The way that the copy database works is by geocoding. We specifically match the candidate to employers within their traveling locale by entering in the candidate's address of residency with city, state, and zip code. It's extremely important that this information is as accurate as possible to make sure that our latitude and longitude coordinates are accurate. We ask for information regarding the parolee's offense, including whether or not they have a current felony conviction. We ask for the date that they were currently convicted, two-digit month, a two-digit day, followed by a dash, a two-digit month, and a four-digit year. We ask for the category of felonies. You can select multiple types by holding down the control key. We also ask for information on whether or not they are currently in custody at ODRC prison facility, what the name of that facility is, and when their date of release. We also ask for information regarding their parole and which parole office they currently check into, and in what region. We also will be asking for information regarding their parole officer's first and last name, which this is, to just take a side note, this is information that we have requested from you already in order to provide you a drop-down list to make it easier for parolees to enroll themselves. We ask for information regarding the parolee's current employment. If they are currently employed, we do want to know this information because this employer is, in fact, a copy-eligible employer. If the candidate is not currently employed, simply click No and move on to the next field. We ask for information regarding what type of work this candidate is actively seeking. You can click multiple types by holding down the control key. Some of our employers do have educational requirements, so we do ask the level of education at which the parolee has obtained. And we want to make sure that if the candidate is able to travel to work via their own vehicle or public transportation, they indicate whether or not they are eligible to receive a valid driver's license. One of the most important fields is to let us know how many miles this candidate is eligible to travel for work from the address given at the top of the form. We do require information regarding any specialized training or apprenticeships that were received during their ODRC incarceration. You can click multiple types again by holding down the control key. If this candidate has any other job-related skills or specialized work history, you can go ahead and type that into the blank field. Our acknowledgement of terms have been approved by the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections and the Adult Parole Authority. If I see an individual candidate know that this information is for the use of the next step in WOTC solution to assist them as an employer in obtaining the work opportunity tax credit and to provide them employer leads from copy. It also further lets the candidate know that they are committing and agreeing to report any employment obtained to their parole officer within 48 hours of obtaining employment. And again, this is extremely important due to making sure that the copy database grows and that the employers have adequate amount of time to successfully receive the work opportunity tax credit. Once you click Submit, you'll go ahead and receive the confirmation on successful enrollment. Once we receive this enrollment, we're going to go ahead and give you a little behind-the-scenes action to show you what all it includes to match these candidates with employers from copy. As you can see here, we have the enrollment that was just entered. Lets us know that Mr. John Smith is actively seeking a landscaping job in Columbus. It lets us know his zip code and lets us know that this candidate is currently and actively WOTC eligible. We click our little magic button behind the scenes that says Find Matching Employers, and our copy database pulls up the best possible matches. Here on the list, we have multiple landscaping opportunities for this candidate to go out and work in person and take those WOTC eligible candidate cards with them while information and product that the APA officers will receive on behalf of these candidates who enroll is an employer leads letter. This letter simply indicates that these leads are specifically matched to this individual candidate, and that in order for this candidate to have the best possible opportunity for the job, that these leads should be worked in person by showing up, shaking a hand, showing a smiling face, and handing out those WOTC eligible candidate cards to notify employers of their WOTC eligibility. Once these leads have been worked in person, the candidate is eligible to request more. The parole officers are eligible to request more on the candidate's behalf.
What you saw there was a slice of the database, the long list, and from that slice comes the matched leads. And we match in various ways. We make sure that employers don't get overrun. It has various logarithms to keep that from happening, and we refine it all the time. There aren't any limits. These guys, if they keep working the leads, they'll get hired. Ask for more leads, give it to them. Don't listen to them whining about, oh, I can't find a job here. Go work these leads, and we're happy to continue to provide them, and we'll work as long as they'll work on that. The WOTC cards are real effective. You can staple it to the top of your application to make it stand out. It reminds the employer that this employee can be hired cheaper than the next guy down the line. We need to know, to make this work, when your guys and gals get hired. We've actually hired somebody to try to run that information down. It seems silly to me since they're obliged to report it to you, but that's the way we're doing it. But you can help. These guys have agreed. Have them report their employment to us and make them do it. Or take their employment and you send it to us. However, but in order for this to work, we have to know that, and we can't help the employer. So we will work with you on that, but that's part and parcel of the program. We have a central point that we have, as I said, hired to do that in Ohio. But they've agreed to do it when they enroll. And if you want, for example, most of these guys these days have email, have them email their employment and copy you so you know they did it. And they will listen to you if you tell them to do that.
We also have several different ways that you can report this easy information. You can go to our website at thenextstep99.com and report it on our online form. It can be reported to us via email at ohiojobs@thenextstep99.com. We're only asking for 4 simple data points. That includes the business's name, address, phone number, and if by chance you have a contact at that employer, to let us know who it is so we can contact them directly and assist them with the work opportunity tax credit. As a reminder, the WOTC has a 28-day time limit in order to file their first round of paperwork. So it is vitally important that we do receive job report information on a timely manner.
This is what we're trying to do, grow the coffee database in Ohio, and it grows both from the information that flows into us from the field, as we're just describing, as well as our own employer development work, which will go hand in hand with that to grow it. One of the things you should look for is the growth of the database. Now, database improves, we all live with them every day in a lot of ways. One way that it improves is, and this happens from time to time, one of your guys and gals will say, they gave me a lead and those people won't hire a felon. Or that place burned down. How could they have given us this lousy lead? Well, we don't know it. And that information, we encourage you to tell us that. We'll check it. We'll see if the place really did burn down, or if they're not hiring felons, maybe they didn't like that felon. And that happens a lot. Or maybe they changed management and they're no longer felon friendly. Regardless of those things, that information improves the database. It's like pruning a tree. And that's important, as is the growth of the database. And it's only as good as what we do with it. And in order for us to give your people good leads, we need to continually improve that. Assisting the ODRC with its reentry employment challenges goes back to the original point. It's my guess that the group most aided by a real problem that you got. These guys are whining. Everybody can read the newspaper. Jobs are tough to get. Felons have a really tough job, and we've come along with something that really can assist them in getting hired. We want to be a resource to you. We will be a resource to you, as you'll find from working with us. We're quite proud of our record in that respect. If I could finish, this is a hotline we've got set up. We didn't take questions during this thing because we're very conscious of the use of your time, and your question might not apply to anybody else, and they don't want to hear it. So this time, and I should have said this at the beginning, but if you have questions that you've jotted down or that are in your mind, when we finish this, which will be here in a couple of minutes, there's a number, and we've got staff assigned to take your calls and answer your questions. But basically, this is not rocket science. We want as many as possible of your people to enroll. If they're employed, enroll them, because we'll pick up that employer who by definition is felon friendly, and they'll be in the database useful for people down the line. And they may not, in all likelihood, they've not collected the work opportunity tax credit. We will remind them of their right to do that in various ways. This isn't rocket science, but it is innovative, and we hope to be a good partner with you in improving this at every level in Ohio, your professional level, your chances for your people to get employment, and the employers who do hire them actually obtaining the benefits the law has set aside for them. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye, as Kelly probably will do too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for your time. If you do have any questions, please jot down that phone number. It's 1-559-546-1000. The access code for you to dial in is 294-266. Or, of course, you can email us your questions at questions@wotcsolutions.com. We look forward to working with each and every one of you in this mutually beneficial relationship for assisting your parolees with finding gainful employment through COFFEE, the Cooperative of Felon-Friendly Employers.